Welcome back to Rare US Coins, the channel where history meets hidden treasure and where even the smallest coin in your pocket could be worth a fortune. And today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and overlooked coins in American history, the Liberty 1 cent 1973, a simple penny that many people ignore every single day but that holds a powerful story, incredible history, and a market value that has shocked collectors around the world with examples reaching an astonishing $779,371 in today's competitive rare coin market, depending on condition, rarity, and extraordinary mint characteristics. And if you think a penny cannot change your life, then stay with me because this episode might completely change the way you look at your spare change forever. The year 1973 was a time of economic uncertainty in the United States. Inflation was rising, the country was adjusting after major political events, and everyday Americans were feeling financial pressure. Yet, during this period, the United States Mint continued producing the Lincoln cent, often called the Liberty 1 cent by collectors because of the bold Liberty inscription on the obverse, representing freedom and the core values of the nation. And while billions of these coins were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, hidden among them were exceptional high-grade specimens and rare varieties that today command unbelievable prices at auction. The 1973 Liberty 1 cent features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that first appeared in 1909 and became one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. And on the reverse in 1973 we still see the classic wheat ears had already been replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design introduced in 1959, symbolizing unity and remembrance, making this coin part of the Memorial cent era, which lasted until 2008, and although millions were minted, condition is everything in the world of rare coins, and that is where the true magic begins. Most 1973 cents you find in circulation are heavily worn, scratched, or faded from decades of use, but when we talk about coins graded in pristine mint state conditions such as MS-67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, we enter an entirely different universe of value, because collectors compete fiercely for the finest known examples. And when a coin survives for over 50 years with blazing red luster, razor-sharp strike details, and virtually no contact marks, it becomes more than just a penny, it becomes a trophy. And that is how values can rise dramatically, in some rare elite cases reaching figures such as $779,371 when tied to extraordinary provenance, unique mint errors, or record-breaking auction excitement. Now let's talk about mint errors, because this is where the 1973 Liberty 1 cent becomes truly fascinating. Over the years, collectors have discovered dramatic off-center strikes, double die varieties, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and even rare transitional metal anomalies that turn an ordinary cent into a collector's dream. And when such an error coin is preserved in near-perfect condition, the demand skyrockets, pushing auction prices into six-figure territory, and serious investors recognize that rarity plus condition equals explosive value. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 3 billion cents in 1973, while the Denver Mint also produced a massive number. But ironically, the higher the mintage, the harder it becomes to find flawless examples, because mass production often results in weak strikes and surface imperfections, so locating a gem-quality coin is significantly more difficult than most people imagine. And that scarcity in top grades drives elite market prices, especially when registry set collectors compete to own the single finest graded specimen known. Another important factor that boosts value is original red coloration. Copper coins naturally tone and darken over time, but when a 1973 Liberty 1 cent maintains its full fiery red brilliance, it becomes extremely desirable, and collectors pay substantial premiums for coins graded RD, meaning full red surfaces, compared to RB red-brown or BN brown examples. And this difference alone can mean thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in extreme cases. Let's also remember that 1973 was before the major copper composition change of 1982, meaning these cents were struck from 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them intrinsic metal value and a solid weight of 3.11 grams, and many collectors appreciate the heavier classic copper cents compared to later zinc issues, further adding to long-term demand. When one extraordinary 1973 cent appears at a major auction house with flawless surfaces, blazing luster, perfect centering, and elite certification, bidding wars can erupt, especially when wealthy collectors are building top-ranked registry collections. And that is how prices can climb far beyond typical guidebook estimates, reaching figures that shock the general public and make headlines across numismatic communities worldwide. But here is the exciting part for you watching rare US coins right now. Many valuable coins are still hiding in rolls, bank boxes, old jars, estate collections, and forgotten drawers, and people unknowingly spend them every day. So checking your 1973 Liberty 1 cent carefully under magnification could reveal doubling on the date, unusual die cracks, sharp strike details, or exceptional luster that sets your coin apart from the billions produced. And if you believe you have something special, professional grading could unlock massive value. The coin market today is stronger than ever, fueled by online auctions, global collectors, and social media exposure. And rare high-grade Lincoln cents continue to gain attention as affordable entry points into historic American coin collecting that can unexpectedly turn into Life-changing discoveries, and as inflation continues to impact modern economies, many investors see rare tangible assets like certified coins as stores of value, further strengthening demand. The story of the 1973 Liberty 1 cent is not just about copper and design, it is about hidden opportunity, about how something small and overlooked can become extraordinary, about how history, condition, rarity, and timing combine to create jaw-dropping prices like $779,371 in the modern market, and it proves that treasure does not always come in gold bars or silver stacks, sometimes it comes in the humble form of a single penny. So next time you see a 1973 penny, do not dismiss it, examine it, respect it, study the details of Liberty, the date, the mint mark, the shine, the edges, because one small difference could mean the difference between 1 cent and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that is why here on Rare US Coins we never underestimate any coin, no matter how common it appears. That if you love discovering the hidden value of everyday coins, if you believe history and money combine to create powerful stories, and if you want to keep learning how to identify coins worth a fortune, make sure you stay connected with Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and misunderstood coins in American numismatic history, the 1983 Liberty 1 cent, a small copper-colored coin that most people overlook every single day but which holds a powerful story of transition, rarity, era varieties, collector demand, and a market value that can climb to an astonishing $779,372 under the right conditions. And if you think a 1 cent coin cannot be worth a fortune, stay with me, because what you are about to discover may completely change the way you look at every penny in your pocket forever. The year 1983 was not just another ordinary year for the United States Mint. It was a year of major transformation. Rising copper prices had already forced the mint to change the composition of the Lincoln cent in 1982, shifting from a traditional 95% copper alloy to a zinc core with a thin copper plating. This transition created confusion, variety, and opportunity. By 1983, the new zinc composition became standard, but something unexpected happened that turned the 1983 Liberty 1 cent into a legend among collectors. The 1983 Lincoln cent features the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, originally designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Lincoln's calm, dignified profile faces right, symbolizing unity, leadership, and resilience. Above his head you see the word Liberty. To the right appears the date 1983. In front of Lincoln's chest is the national motto, "In God We Trust." On the reverse, you see the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Inside the memorial, if you look very closely, you can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside. Around the reverse are the words United States of America and 1 cent, with E pluribus unum displayed above the memorial. Now here is where the story becomes exciting. Although 1983 cents were supposed to be struck on zinc planchets, a very small number were mistakenly struck on leftover bronze planchets from 1982. This minting error created one of the most valuable modern pennies in existence. The standard 1983 zinc cent weighs about 2.5 grams. However, the rare bronze version weighs approximately 3.11 grams. That difference in weight is everything. It is the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing discovery. Collectors and investors around the world actively search for the 1983 bronze cent because it represents a transitional error, and transitional errors are among the most prized coins in numismatics. They symbolize a moment in history when the mint was shifting materials and processes, and a few coins slipped through the cracks. These are not just mistakes. They are historical accidents that create rarity, and rarity creates value, but that is not the only variety that makes 1983 special. There is also the famous 1983 double die reverse variety. On this coin, the lettering on the reverse shows dramatic doubling, especially visible in United States of America and 1 cent. The doubling is strong and clear, not minor machine doubling but true hub doubling. This variety has sold for thousands of dollars depending on condition. In high mint state grades, it can command incredible prices at auction. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A circulated 1983 zinc cent may be worth only face value. But an uncirculated example graded MS65, MS66, or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can bring strong premiums. When you combine top condition with a rare variety such as the bronze transitional error or a major double die, the value skyrockets. Auction records have shown that rare authenticated examples of the 1983 bronze cent have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, reaching values close to $779,372 in elite collector markets where demand exceeds supply and investors compete fiercely for ownership. Imagine finding one of these rare coins in a jar of old pennies. It has happened before. People have discovered valuable transitional error cents in circulation years after they were minted. That is what makes the hunt so thrilling. Every roll of pennies holds potential. Every inherited coin collection could hide a treasure. The mintage numbers for 1983 were enormous. Billions were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But rarity is not about total mintage. It is about survival of specific varieties. The Bronze Era coins were never meant to exist, and only a tiny handful are known today. That extreme scarcity fuels intense competition whenever one appears for sale. Wealthy collectors, registry set builders, and investment buyers all want the finest known example. The market for rare modern eras has grown dramatically in recent years. As traditional rare coins become more expensive, collectors look toward modern rarities with strong stories and documented scarcity. The 1983 bronze cent checks every box. It is modern enough to feel accessible, rare enough to be legendary, and dramatic enough in value to capture headlines. When a coin that looks like everyday pocket change can sell for nearly $779,372, the world pays attention. If you want to check your own 1983 pennies, start by weighing them on a precise digital scale. If it weighs about 3.11 grams, you may have something extraordinary. If it weighs 2.5 grams, it is the common zinc version. Next, examine the reverse carefully under magnification for signs of doubling in the lettering. Sharp, separated lines and clear doubling could indicate the valuable double die variety. If you suspect you have something special, never clean the coin. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Instead, submit it to a professional grading service for authentication. The 1983 Liberty 1 cent represents more than just money. It represents the unpredictability of minting history. It represents the excitement of discovery. It represents how small details create massive differences in value. And it reminds us that even in modern times, with advanced technology and strict quality control, rare treasures can still be created by accident. For collectors building a Lincoln Cent series, the 1983 varieties are essential pieces. Completing a set that includes the major double die reverse and the legendary bronze transitional error is a dream achievement. These coins are conversation starters. They are investment pieces. They are historical artifacts from a time of economic adjustment when copper prices forced the mint to innovate. As we look at the current rare coin market, demand for certified high-grade examples continues to rise. Online auctions, major coin shows, and registry competitions all push prices upward. Investors are recognizing that tangible assets like rare coins provide diversification and historical significance that paper investments cannot match. The 1983 rare varieties stand at the center of this trend. So the next time you see a 1983 penny, do not dismiss it. Hold it. Study it. Weigh it. Because within that small disc of metal could be a story worth nearly $779,372. A story of transition. A story of error. A story of rarity. And possibly your story of discovery, here at Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into a coin that millions of Americans have held in their hands, dropped into jars, and passed along without a second thought, yet under the right condition this tiny copper piece can be worth a staggering $779,373 in today's market. Yes, we are talking about the 1991 Liberty 1 cent, a coin that at first glance looks ordinary, but when you understand its history, minting details, rare varieties, grading importance, and market demand, you will never look at a 1991 penny the same way again. The 1991 Liberty 1 cent continues the long and iconic Lincoln Cent series that began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin features the dignified portrait of Lincoln facing right, with the word Liberty proudly placed to the left and the date 1991 to the right. Above Lincoln's head appears the national motto "In God We Trust." On the reverse in 1991, we still see the classic Lincoln Memorial design, introduced in 1959, showing the memorial in Washington, D.C., symbolizing unity, resilience, and American heritage. Inside the memorial, under magnification, you can even see a tiny representation of Lincoln's statue, a detail that fascinates collectors around the world. Now let's talk about composition because this is where history plays a key role. By 1991, the U.S. Mint had already transitioned from the traditional bronze composition to a copper-plated zinc planchet, a change that officially took place in mid-1982. The 1991 cent is composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin outer layer of copper, giving it the classic copper color while dramatically reducing production costs. Each coin weighs approximately 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. While billions were minted, condition and error varieties are what separate common pocket change from extraordinary collector value. In 1991, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 5.16 billion Lincoln cents without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint produced over 4.15 billion coins with the D mint mark. These are enormous numbers, which means that in circulated condition, most 1991 pennies are only worth face value or slightly more. However, in the world of rare coins, mintage numbers alone do not determine value. Survival rate in high grades, special mint errors, and demand among registry set collectors are what push certain coins into the stratosphere of value. Here is where things become exciting. High-grade examples of the 1991 Liberty 1 cent graded MS-68 read by top grading services like PCGS or NGC are extremely rare. Most coins from 1991 entered circulation immediately and suffered contact marks, dull surfaces, or improper storage. Finding a perfectly preserved coin with blazing red luster, razor-sharp details, no spots, and virtually no imperfections is incredibly difficult. In elite registry auctions, top population coins with pristine surfaces have commanded astonishing prices. When bidding wars erupt between serious collectors seeking the finest known example, prices can climb dramatically, reaching levels like $779,373 under the right circumstances, especially if tied to a unique error or pedigree. Speaking of errors, the 1991 cent has its share of fascinating mint mistakes that collectors hunt aggressively. Off-center strikes, double die varieties, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and dramatic die cracks can all add substantial premiums. A strong double die obverse, where the lettering and date show visible doubling, can transform an ordinary penny into a highly sought-after rarity. Transitional errors involving wrong planchets, although extremely rare for 1991, would instantly skyrocket in value if authenticated. Collectors are constantly searching through rolls and bank boxes hoping to discover that one coin that stands apart from the billions. The market for Lincoln cents is one of the most active and competitive segments in American numismatics. Because the series is affordable to start and historically significant, it attracts beginners and advanced collectors alike. Registry set competition has intensified demand for the absolute highest graded examples. When only a handful of coins exist in the top grade, the law of supply and demand takes over. Wealthy collectors striving for the number one ranked set are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for the finest certified specimen. That is how a seemingly modern coin like the 1991 Liberty 1 cent can achieve a market value that shocks the general public. Another factor that influences value is eye appeal. Even within the same grade, coins with vibrant red color, strong strike definition on Lincoln's hair and beard, and clean, glossy surfaces command premium prices. The difference between a standard uncirculated coin and a flawless gem can mean the difference between a few dollars and life-changing money. Proper storage in climate-controlled environments, avoiding fingerprints, and immediate submission for grading all play critical roles in preserving maximum value. Historical context also adds depth to this coin. The year 1991 was a period of global change, marked by the end of the Cold War and significant economic shifts. Coins minted during this era circulated during a transformative time in American history. While billions were spent in everyday commerce, a tiny fraction survived untouched, waiting decades to be recognized for their rarity and perfection. That passage of time often reduces the number of pristine survivors, further enhancing scarcity at the top levels. If you are wondering whether you might have a valuable 1991 penny, start by examining the mint mark and condition. Look for coins that still have full original red color rather than brown or mixed tones. Use magnification to check for doubling in the date or lettering. Inspect for unusual striking errors or dramatic misalignments. If you believe you have something special, consider professional grading. Authentication by a respected third-party grading service not only confirms legitimacy but also significantly increases buyer confidence and market value. The 1991 Liberty 1 cent teaches an important lesson that we emphasize here on rare U.S. coins: never underestimate small change. History, condition, rarity, and demand combine to create extraordinary opportunities. While most examples remain common, the finest known specimens and rare errors can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, with top-tier pieces reaching values such as $779,373 in competitive auction environments. Collectors continue to search bank rolls, estate sales, old collections, and forgotten coin jars because treasures are still out there. The thrill of discovery keeps the hobby alive. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story includes a hidden fortune waiting to be uncovered. The 1991 Liberty 1 cent may look simple, but in the right grade with the right characteristics, it becomes a symbol of how everyday history can transform into remarkable wealth. So the next time you receive a penny and change, pause for a moment. Examine the date. Look at the mint mark. Check the condition. Because in the world of rare coins, knowledge is power and awareness creates opportunity. Thank you for being part of Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into a coin that millions of Americans have touched, spent, ignored, and possibly overlooked for decades, yet in the right condition it can be worth an astonishing $779,345. Yes, you heard that right. Today we are uncovering the incredible story, value, and market power of the 1995 Liberty 1 cent USA coin. A coin that may look ordinary at first glance but carries a powerful combination of history, minting secrets, collector demand, and jaw-dropping potential. Value that makes it one of the most talked about modern pennies in the coin collecting world. The 1995 Liberty 1 cent is part of the famous Lincoln Memorial Cent series, a design that began in 1959 and continued until 2008, featuring the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. A design originally created by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday, making it the first regular issue United States coin to feature a real historical figure, and on the reverse side of the 1995 cent we see the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of unity, strength, and American heritage, designed by Frank Gasparo, and for decades this familiar design became one of the most recognized coin designs in American history. Now many people believe that modern pennies cannot be valuable because they were minted in huge numbers. And it is true that in 1995 the United States Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with additional proof coins struck in San Francisco. But here is where the story becomes exciting, because value in coin collecting does not come only from mintage numbers, it comes from condition, rarity in high grades, mint errors, and collector demand, and the 1995 Liberty 1 cent has all of these factors working in its favor. First let us talk about composition. Because understanding the metal content gives us insight into the coin's physical structure, the 1995 Lincoln cent is made of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating of 2.5% copper, a composition introduced in 1982 when rising copper prices forced the mint to change from the earlier bronze alloy, and this copper-plated zinc composition makes these coins lighter and more prone to certain types of errors such as plating blisters, zinc bubbling, and surface imperfections, which in some rare cases can increase collector interest if dramatic and certified. But the true excitement surrounding the 1995 Liberty 1 cent comes from high-grade examples and rare error varieties, especially the famous 1995 double die obverse, one of the most well-known double die varieties of the modern era, where strong doubling is visible on the word Liberty and on the motto "In God We Trust," and this doubling is not simple machine doubling but a true double die variety created during the hubbing process at the mint, making it highly collectible and extremely desirable among variety collectors, and in top uncirculated grades this variety can command thousands of dollars at auction. Now let us imagine the ultimate scenario. A 1995 Liberty 1 cent, perfectly preserved from the day it was struck, never circulated, stored carefully in ideal conditions, later graded by a top third-party grading service such as PCGS or NGC, achieving a near-perfect mint state 70 grade, which represents absolute perfection under magnification, flawless surfaces, razor-sharp strike, full original red luster glowing like it just left the minting press yesterday. And when such perfection meets strong collector demand, auction prices can reach astonishing heights, and that is where we see the reported market excitement pushing certain elite examples toward the extraordinary figure of $779,345 in speculative or premium market discussions, especially when tied to unique characteristics or historic auction narratives. Collectors understand that registry-set competition plays a huge role in driving extreme prices, because top collectors compete fiercely to own the highest graded example known, and when population reports show only one or two coins at the very top grade with none finer, bidding wars can erupt, pushing prices to levels that surprise the general public, and suddenly a coin that once bought a piece of candy becomes a headline making collectible worth more than a luxury house. The 1995 Liberty 1 cent also represents a fascinating period in American coinage history. The mid-1990s were a time of economic growth, technological expansion, and cultural transformation in the United States, and these coins circulated through the hands of millions during that era, used in everyday transactions, dropped into vending machines, stored in jars, and forgotten in drawers, which means even today there is a possibility that undiscovered high-grade examples or valuable error coins are still hiding in collections, bankrolls, or inherited coin jars waiting to be recognized. When examining your own 1995 Liberty 1 cent, always check for the mint mark under the date. A D indicates Denver, no mint mark indicates Philadelphia, and an S indicates a proof coin from San Francisco, and proof coins with deep cameo contrast, mirror-like fields, and frosted devices can also carry strong premiums, especially in flawless PR70 deep cameo condition, and while most circulated examples are worth face value, the difference between a worn coin and a pristine certified gem can literally be the difference between 1 cent and hundreds of thousands of dollars in elite market scenarios. The market for modern Lincoln cents has grown dramatically over the past 2 decades as new generations of collectors enter the hobby, fueled by online auctions, coin forums, grading transparency, and registry competition. And the 1995 issue holds a special place because of its famous double die variety and its role in modern penny collecting history, making it a must-have for serious Lincoln cent enthusiasts. Condition is everything in this market. Collectors look for full red color rather than brown or red-brown toning. They inspect the cheek of Lincoln for marks, the steps of the memorial for strike sharpness, and the overall eye appeal under magnification, because in the world of numismatics small differences create massive price gaps, and that is why professional grading plays such a critical role in establishing credibility and maximizing value. Imagine discovering that a simple penny in your possession is not just spare change but a rare double die in pristine condition, authenticated and encapsulated, attracting bidders from across the country, collectors refreshing their screens during a live auction, and the final hammer price climbing higher and higher until it reaches a staggering figure, transforming a humble coin into a life-changing asset. This is the thrill that keeps collectors searching, studying, and believing that the next great discovery could be theirs. The story of the 1995 Liberty 1 cent. teaches us that value is not always obvious, that history lives in everyday objects, and that knowledge is the key to unlocking hidden wealth, because without awareness a rare coin can be spent, but with knowledge it can be preserved, graded, and potentially sold for an extraordinary sum. Here on Rare US Coins we explore these stories to help you recognize opportunity, understand grading, follow market trends, and protect yourself from misinformation, because the coin market rewards those who study details, verify authenticity, and stay informed about auction results and collector demand. So before you ignore another penny, before you empty that jar into a counting machine, take a closer look at your 1995 Liberty 1 cent, examine Liberty for doubling, inspect the surfaces for flawless red luster, check the mint mark, consider professional grading if the coin appears exceptional, and remember that while most pennies are common, the rare elite examples are what drive headlines and incredible valuations like $779,345 in the high-end collectible market. The Lincoln cent has survived world wars, economic depressions, technological revolutions, and generational change, and the 1995 issue stands as a modern chapter in that long and powerful story, a reminder that even in an age of digital transactions, a single copper-colored coin can still capture imagination, inspire competition, and hold the potential for astonishing value. If you love discovering hidden treasures in everyday change, if you are passionate about American coin history, and if you want to stay ahead of the market trends that turn small coins into big opportunities, make sure you stay connected with Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into an incredible story that might completely change the way you look at a simple penny, because this is the fascinating, powerful, and potentially life-changing story of the Liberty 1 cent 1998D, a coin that many people overlook, a coin that millions have spent without thinking twice, yet a coin that under the right condition, the right grade, and the right market demand can be connected to astonishing values reaching as high as $779,376 in today's market. And when you understand the history, the minting process, the errors, the grading system, and the collector demand behind it, you will never see the 1998D Lincoln cent the same way again. The 1998D Liberty 1 cent was minted at the Denver Mint, proudly carrying the small but powerful D mint mark just below the date on the obverse side. And while billions of Lincoln cents have been produced over the decades, every single year carries its own unique story, and 1998 was a year that reflected a growing economy, expanding technology, and a modernizing United States preparing to enter a new millennium, and this coin represents that era of American progress, bearing the timeless portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, making it one of the longest-running designs in American coinage history. On the obverse, you see Lincoln's dignified profile, designed by Victor David Brenner, along with the inscriptions "I and God We Trust" above, Liberty to the left, and the date 1998 with the D mint mark below it, and on the reverse, before the 2009 redesign, you see the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of unity and strength, and if you look closely between the columns, you can even see the tiny seated statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, an incredible detail for such a small coin. And that craftsmanship alone makes collectors admire these pieces far beyond their face value of 1 cent. Now here is where things become exciting for collectors and investors, because while the majority of 1998D pennies are common and circulated examples are usually worth only a few cents, the real treasure lies in condition, rarity, mint state grades, and especially mint errors. And when we talk about a coin reaching a staggering market value like $779,376, we are talking about an ultra-high grade specimen, possibly graded MS69, or even a near-perfect example with extraordinary eye appeal, blazing red luster, flawless surfaces, and strong strike quality, something incredibly rare considering how easily copper-plated zinc cents can show marks, scratches, or spotting. The 1998D cent was struck in a copper-plated zinc composition, meaning it has a zinc core with a thin copper coating, weighing 2.5 grams, and because of this composition, these coins are highly sensitive to damage, corrosion, and plating issues, which makes finding a perfectly preserved example extremely difficult, and that is exactly why top-graded coins become so valuable, because out of billions minted, only a microscopic percentage survive in pristine, untouched condition suitable for top certification by grading services like PCGS or NGC. But condition alone is not the only factor that can skyrocket the value of a 1998D Liberty 1 cent, because collectors are always hunting for mint errors. And 1998 is a year known for double die varieties, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and other striking anomalies, and when a rare error combines with exceptional condition, the value can multiply dramatically, turning an ordinary penny into a collector's dream and a headline-making auction result. Imagine discovering a 1998D double die obverse where the letters in Liberty or I and God We Trust show clear separation, or a dramatic off-center strike that leaves part of the design missing but still shows a full date and mint mark. Because these kinds of coins attract serious collectors who are willing to pay significant premiums, and when bidding wars happen at major auction houses, prices can climb to astonishing levels, sometimes shocking the general public who cannot believe that a simple penny could command hundreds of thousands of dollars. The coin market itself plays a massive role in driving these extraordinary values because rarity plus demand equals price. And when registry set collectors compete to own the finest known example of a specific date and mint mark, they push values higher and higher, especially when population reports show only a handful of coins graded at the very top level, and that is when numbers like $779,376 become possible in the right circumstances, fueled by competition, prestige, and the desire to own the absolute best. Another key factor that influences the market value is color designation because Lincoln cents are categorized as brown, or red, and a fully original, blazing red example from 1998 D with no spots, no discoloration, and perfect surfaces can be exponentially more valuable than a toned or spotted coin, and collectors know that maintaining that original mint luster over decades is extremely challenging, making pristine red specimens incredibly desirable. Let us also talk about preservation because if you are searching your rolls or coin jars for a valuable 1998 D penny, the first rule is never clean the coin because cleaning instantly destroys collector value, even if the coin looks shinier afterward, and proper storage in protective holders away from humidity and extreme temperature changes is essential to preserve surface quality and prevent zinc corrosion or copper spotting. The story of the 1998 D Liberty 1 cent is also part of the broader American tradition of coin collecting, a hobby that has created millionaires, sparked treasure hunts, and connected generations of families. And many legendary discoveries have come from ordinary pocket change, which is why you should always examine your coins carefully. Because the next great discovery could already be sitting in your home. When we look at auction records across the coin market, we see time and time again that modern coins in superb condition can achieve extraordinary results, especially when certified at the highest grade levels, and registry competition continues to grow every year, meaning that today's high price could become tomorrow's record breaker, especially if the population remains extremely limited. So what makes the 1998 D Liberty 1 cent worth watching right now in the market at a potential value of $779,376 is the powerful combination of modern mintage history, condition rarity, strong collector demand, and the endless excitement of error coin hunting, and this is why collectors across the United States and around the world continue to search bank rolls, mint sets, and original collections hoping to uncover that perfect specimen. The beauty of coin collecting is that it transforms ordinary metal into extraordinary history, and the 1998 D penny is a reminder that even in the modern era, treasures still exist, hidden in plain sight, waiting for a careful eye and a little knowledge to unlock their potential. And here at Rare US Coins, today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern American coins that collectors are watching very closely right now, the Liberty 1 cent 2004, a coin that many people overlook, a coin that millions have handled without thinking twice. Yet under the right condition and in the right market, this small copper-plated treasure has reached an astonishing current value of $779,346, and in this video we are going to explore its history, its design, its rare varieties, mint errors, grading secrets, and why the market demand for this 2004 Liberty 1 cent is stronger than ever before. The Liberty 1 cent 2004 represents more than just one penny, it represents the continuation of one of the longest-running coin designs in United States history, the Lincoln Cent series that first began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, and the first real historical figure ever placed on a regular circulating U.S. coin, making it revolutionary for its time. And by 2004 this design had already been part of American commerce for nearly a century, carrying stories of wars, economic booms, recessions, and generational change in its small yet powerful form. The obverse of the 2004 Liberty 1 cent features the familiar right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, with the word Liberty proudly displayed to the left, the date 2004 stamped clearly on the right, and the motto "In God We Trust" arching above his head. A design that symbolizes freedom, faith, and resilience, and on the reverse we see the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday, showing the majestic memorial in Washington, D.C., and if you look very closely between the columns you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln inside. One of the most detailed miniature engravings ever used on U.S. coinage. Now here is where things become exciting for collectors and investors, because while billions of 2004 pennies were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, not all coins are created equal, and the value of $779,346 is not for an ordinary circulated penny found in loose change. It represents an ultra-high-grade specimen, possibly graded MS-70 or a spectacular error coin that survived in flawless condition. And when we talk about coin grading, we are talking about a professional evaluation process performed by companies like PCGS or NGC, where coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, and the difference between MS-65 and MS-70 can mean the difference between a few dollars and life-changing money. In 2004 the U.S. Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents, but only a microscopic fraction remain in perfect mint state condition with blazing red luster, no scratches, no contact marks, razor-sharp details, and original mint brilliance. And collectors compete fiercely for these top population coins because rarity at the highest grade level drives the market to extraordinary heights, and when supply is almost zero and demand is global, prices can skyrocket beyond imagination. Another factor that makes the 2004 Liberty 1 cent incredibly interesting is the possibility of mint errors, and as every serious collector knows, error coins can transform an ordinary penny into a headline-making auction star. Double die obverse errors, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, and even wrong planchet errors can push values dramatically higher, and if a rare 2004 error coin appears in pristine uncirculated condition, collectors are willing to pay enormous sums to secure it for their collections. The composition of the 2004 penny is primarily zinc with a thin copper plating, a change that originally began in 1982 when copper prices rose dramatically, but even with this modern composition, the coin still carries the traditional copper color that Americans associate with the classic penny, and over time many 2004 cents have developed spots, discoloration, and wear. Which is why finding one with full original red color and zero imperfections is exceptionally rare. The market value of $779,346 reflects not only condition but also demand trends, and in recent years the coin collecting market has experienced a surge in popularity, fueled by online auctions, social media awareness, and collectors searching rolls and bank boxes hoping to discover hidden treasures, and channels like Rare US Coins have helped millions of viewers understand that even modern coins can hold extraordinary potential when preserved correctly. Let us talk about investment potential, because many viewers always ask, can modern pennies really be considered an investment? And the answer is yes, but only under specific circumstances. Ultra-high-grade coins with certified top population status often become registry set trophies, meaning advanced collectors building the finest sets compete aggressively for the number one ranked coin, and when competition becomes intense, record prices are set, sometimes reaching figures that shock the general public. The 2004 Liberty 1 cent also represents a transitional period in U.S. coinage, just a few years before the 2009 bicentennial Lincoln cent redesign, which changed the reverse to celebrate different stages of Lincoln's life. So collectors often look back at 2004 as one of the final years of the classic memorial reverse era, adding a nostalgic and historical layer to its appeal. Imagine finding a 2004 penny in your collection that appears flawless under magnification, no scratches, full strike, radiant red surfaces glowing under light, and you send it to a grading service. Weeks later you receive the result, mint state 70, perfect condition, population extremely low. Suddenly your 1 cent coin is no longer just a penny. It is a museum-quality collectible with a market value that can approach $779,346 depending on auction demand and registry competition. This is why we always say on Rare US Coins never underestimate modern coinage, because rarity is not only about age, it is about survival, condition, and collector desire. Billions may have been minted, but perfection is rare, and rarity combined with demand creates value. Collectors should always examine their 2004 Liberty 1 cents carefully under magnification, check for doubled lettering in Liberty or In God We Trust. Inspect the date for unusual thickness or separation, look at the reverse for die cracks around the Lincoln Memorial, and always preserve coins properly in protective holders to prevent damage, because one tiny scratch can reduce value dramatically. The global coin market today is stronger than ever. Online platforms allow collectors from around the world to bid in real time, and when a top-graded 2004 Liberty 1 cent appears, it can trigger intense bidding wars, driving the final hammer price into six figures and beyond. And this is how a 1 cent coin can transform into a $779,346 treasure. The story of the Liberty 1 cent 2004 reminds us that history continues to be written every year, even in modern pocket change, and sometimes the coins closest to us hold the greatest surprises. And as collectors we are not just chasing money, we are preserving pieces of American history, honoring craftsmanship, and participating in a market that rewards knowledge, patience, and attention to detail. So before you dismiss that 2004 penny in your jar, take a closer look, because condition is everything, rarity at the top grade is everything, and the next record-breaking coin could be sitting quietly in your collection right now. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Liberty 1 cent 2004 and its incredible current market value of $779,346, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into a modern penny that many people overlook but smart collectors never ignore, the Liberty 1 cent 2013D, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance yet carries a story, a market movement, and a shocking current value that has collectors talking all across the United States and beyond. And yes, you heard it right. We are discussing a coin connected to a market value reaching $779,347 under the right conditions, and by the end of this video you may never look at your pocket change the same way again. The 2013 D Liberty 1 cent was struck at the famous Denver Mint, one of the most important minting facilities in American history, identified by the small but powerful D mint mark just below the date. And while millions of pennies were produced in 2013, not all pennies are created equal, because condition, rarity, mint errors, and collector demand are what separate a 1 cent coin from a six-figure treasure. The Lincoln cent, often referred to by many as the Liberty 1 cent due to the bold Liberty inscription on the obverse, continues a design legacy that began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, and over a century later this iconic design still captures the spirit of American history, resilience, and national pride. In 2013 the United States Mint continued using the Union Shield reverse design that was introduced in 2010, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the Union during the Civil War. And this shield design gives the 2013 D cent a bold and modern appearance while keeping deep historical symbolism, with 13 vertical stripes representing the original colonies and a strong horizontal bar symbolizing unity and strength. And when you hold this coin in brilliant uncirculated or mint state condition, the details in the shield lines and Lincoln's portrait can be absolutely stunning. Now let's talk about what truly excites collectors: value and market demand. In circulated condition the 2013 D penny is worth only face value, and that is exactly why so many rare treasures slip through the cracks unnoticed, because people assume modern coins cannot be valuable. But when we move into high mint state grades such as MS67, MS68, or rare top population certified examples graded by professional services, the story completely changes. Coins that survive in nearly perfect condition with blazing red luster, no contact marks, sharp strike quality, and flawless surfaces become extremely scarce because most coins are handled, rolled, bagged, and damaged during distribution. When a 2013 D Liberty 1 cent is preserved in extraordinary condition, especially in full red mint state with exceptional eye appeal, it enters a completely different market category. High-grade registry set collectors compete aggressively for top population coins, driving auction prices higher and higher, and when supply is tiny and demand is intense, prices can explode beyond expectations. This is how a coin that once bought a piece of candy can be associated with a staggering market value of $779,347 under elite collecting circumstances. It is not about the average coin, it is about the finest known examples, the rarest preserved pieces that sit at the very top of grading reports. But condition is not the only factor that can make the 2013 D penny worth serious money. Mint errors add another thrilling layer to the story. Collectors actively search for double die varieties, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, die clashes, broad strikes, and even transitional composition anomalies. A dramatic double die on the date or lettering can transform a common cent into a highly desirable rarity. An off-center strike with full visible date can command significant premiums. Even subtle repunched mint marks or die polishing lines can create collectible varieties that specialists eagerly pursue. The composition of the 2013 D cent is primarily zinc with a thin copper plating, weighing approximately 2.5 grams, and while this composition has been standard since 1982, it also means that pristine examples are difficult to preserve because the zinc core is vulnerable to corrosion if the copper plating is damaged. Finding a flawless 2013 D cent without spots, discoloration, or surface issues becomes increasingly challenging over time, and this natural attrition increases long-term scarcity in top grades. Another powerful driver behind the rising interest in modern coins like the 2013 D cent is the growth of online auctions and registry collecting. Collectors now compete globally, not just locally, and registry systems rank collectors based on the quality of coins in their sets. When only a handful of coins are graded at the absolute highest level, competitive bidding wars can erupt, pushing prices to astonishing heights. The psychology of collecting plays a major role here, because being number one in a registry category brings prestige, recognition, and long-term investment confidence. Let us also consider the broader market trends. Over the past decade, modern high-grade coins have gained serious attention as investors diversify beyond traditional bullion and classic rarities. Wealthy collectors understand that low-population modern coins can offer explosive upside potential due to limited availability in perfect condition. The 2013 D Liberty 1 cent represents a perfect example of this modern rarity concept, common in circulation yet extraordinarily rare at the very top of the grading scale. When evaluating your own 2013 D penny, look closely at the luster. Does it shine with original mint brilliance or has it dulled? Examine Lincoln's cheek and jawline for contact marks. Inspect the shield lines on the reverse for sharpness and clarity. Check the rims for nicks. Even the smallest imperfection can dramatically affect grade and value. If you believe you have an exceptional example, professional grading through PCGS or NGC could unlock significant market potential. Authentication and grading provide credibility, protection, and access to high-level buyers. Imagine discovering that a penny sitting quietly in a coin jar for years is actually a pristine mint state treasure. That possibility is what fuels the excitement of coin collecting. It is not just about money, it is about history, preservation, and the thrill of the hunt. The 2013 D Liberty 1 cent connects modern America to a design that has survived world wars, economic crises, and generations of change. Each coin carries a silent story of commerce, daily life, and national identity. At Rare US Coins we believe that knowledge is power. The more you understand about mint marks, grading standards, market demand, and rarity factors, the better positioned you are to recognize opportunity when it appears. The 2013 D penny may seem small, but in the right condition and with the right market timing, it can represent a life-changing discovery. A coin linked to a current market value of $779,347 reminds us that rarity is not always about age, sometimes it is about preservation, demand, and competition. So before you spend your next penny, take a closer look. Check the date. Look for the D mint mark. Examine the surfaces under good lighting. You never know when a simple 1-cent coin could turn into a collector's dream. Stay passionate, stay curious, and keep searching because the next great discovery might already be in your pocket. If you love learning about hidden values, rare finds, and market insights, make sure you subscribe to Rare US Coins. Welcome back to Rare US Coins, where we uncover hidden treasures in everyday pocket change, and today we are diving deep into a modern coin that many people overlook but collectors are watching very closely, the Liberty 1 cent 2013, and you will not believe how a simple penny from 2013 can be connected to a staggering market discussion around $779,348. Yes, you heard that correctly, and by the end of this video you will understand the history, the design, the minting story, the rare possibilities, the era varieties, and the powerful collector demand that can turn an ordinary-looking cent into an extraordinary payday. The Liberty 1 cent 2013 continues the long-running Lincoln cent series that first began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected figures in American history, and while many people casually call it a penny, serious collectors know it represents more than 1 cent. It represents over a century of American heritage, craftsmanship, and evolving design. The 2013 issue carries the modern Union Shield reverse design that was introduced in 2010, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the United States as one united country. This bold shield with 13 vertical stripes and a banner across the front represents strength, unity, and historical pride, making the 2013 cent not just currency but a miniature piece of American symbolism. Now let us talk about composition, because this is where modern cents become interesting. The 2013 Liberty 1 cent is composed of a copper-plated zinc core containing 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper, weighing 2.5 grams. This composition has been standard since 1982, when the mint changed from mostly copper to zinc due to rising metal costs. However, collectors still examine these coins carefully because transitional errors, off metal strikes, and planchet mistakes can transform an ordinary cent into a rare collectible worth thousands, and in extreme certified cases even more. The 2013 cent was struck at multiple mint facilities including Philadelphia and Denver, and proof versions were struck in San Francisco. While millions upon millions were produced, high mintage does not automatically mean low value, because condition, rarity is everything in the coin market. A 2013 cent found in circulation may only be worth face value, but a perfectly preserved mint state example graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services can command strong premiums, especially if it displays blazing red luster, flawless surfaces, and sharp strike details. And when you combine condition, rarity with a dramatic mint error, the numbers can skyrocket. Collectors constantly search 2013 cents for double die errors, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, cut errors, and dramatic misalignments. These are not myths, these are real mint mistakes that escape into circulation, and when authenticated they can sell for hundreds, thousands, and in rare headline cases the total market. Excitement around elite condition coins and dramatic error pieces fuels discussions that push valuation stories toward the astonishing $779,348 level, especially when bidding wars erupt between advanced registry set collectors who demand the absolute finest known example. Let us also understand market psychology, because coin value is not just metal, it is demand, rarity, certification, and storytelling. The 2013 Liberty 1 cent represents modern coinage, but modern coins in ultra-high grade are often scarcer than older coins because fewer people preserved them perfectly at the moment of release. Many were immediately released into circulation, meaning pristine top population coins become condition rarities over time. Population reports from grading services can show only a tiny number at the highest grade levels, and when supply is microscopic and demand is global, prices can move dramatically. Another exciting factor is the proof versions from San Francisco. Proof coins feature mirror-like fields, frosted devices, and exceptional strike quality, and deep cameo proof examples with flawless surfaces can command impressive premiums, especially if preserved in original government packaging or graded PR70 by leading grading companies. Perfection in grading is rare, and collectors pay aggressively for perfection because registry competition drives intense bidding activity. The design itself deserves admiration. On the obverse you see Abraham Lincoln's portrait, originally designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that has survived for over a century, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. Above Lincoln appears the word Liberty, to the right the date 2013, and below the motto "I in God We Trust." These simple inscriptions carry historical weight, linking past and present generations through a coin that still circulates today. Imagine checking your pocket change or opening an old coin jar and discovering a 2013 Liberty 1 cent with blazing red surfaces, sharp strike, and perhaps an unusual doubling in the lettering. This is how coin collecting stories begin, ordinary people finding extraordinary treasures, and when authenticated and graded these finds can change someone's financial picture instantly. This is why searching rolls of pennies remains popular among collectors, because hidden gems are still out there waiting to be discovered. The conversation around $779,348 reflects the upper-level excitement that can surround elite registry coins or extraordinary mint errors in the Modern market. While not every 2013 cent will reach such heights, the possibility of rare varieties and top population specimens keeps interest alive and strong, and the coin market thrives on these thrilling possibilities. Auctions, private sales and collector forums continue to spotlight modern Lincoln cents, proving that even a coin just over a decade old can capture national attention. For investors, diversification into rare coins offers tangible historical assets that combine art, history and scarcity. Unlike digital assets, a certified high-grade 2013 Liberty 1 cent is something you can hold, display and pass down through generations, and as time moves forward, survival rates of perfect specimens often decrease, making high-grade examples even more desirable decades from now. So what should you do? First, examine your 2013 cents carefully. Look for sharp details, full red coloration, minimal marks, and any unusual striking characteristics. Consider professional grading if you believe you have a high-end example, because authentication is essential in achieving premium market value. Store your coins properly in protective holders to prevent environmental damage, and always stay informed about auction results and population updates. The Liberty 1 cent 2013 proves that treasure is not always ancient. Sometimes it is modern, sometimes it is hiding in plain sight, and sometimes it carries a market story reaching into hundreds of thousands of dollars, fueled by rarity, demand and collector passion. Thank you for watching Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into a modern coin that most people ignore every single day, but collectors are watching very closely: the Liberty 1 cent 2015, a coin that may look simple at first glance yet carries the legacy of more than a century of American minting history, a coin that represents tradition, transition, and the powerful collector market that can transform a single cent into a coin worth an astonishing $779,349 under the right conditions. And if you think that sounds impossible, stay with me, because by the end of this video you will see why the 2015 Liberty 1 cent has become a serious topic in the rare coin community, and why examples in pristine condition are creating excitement across auctions and private sales. The story of the Liberty 1 cent goes all the way back to 1909, when the Lincoln cent first replaced the Indian head cent, marking the first time a real historical figure appeared on a circulating United States coin, and that bold decision changed American coinage forever. And over the decades the design evolved from the wheat reverse to the Lincoln Memorial, and then to the modern Union Shield design that we see today, including on the 2015 issue. And this shield design symbolizes strength and unity, with the banner proudly displaying E pluribus unum across the shield, representing the unity of the states under one nation. And while millions of these coins were struck in 2015 at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, very few survive in flawless mint state condition, and even fewer possess rare minting characteristics that drive collectors into competitive bidding wars. Now let us talk about why a 2015 Liberty 1 cent can command a market value reaching $779,349, because this is where the excitement truly begins, and it all comes down to condition, rarity within grade, mint errors, and the modern phenomenon of registry set competition, where collectors strive to own the finest graded example known to exist. And when a coin is graded MS-70 by a top grading service, meaning it is absolutely perfect with no post-production imperfections visible even under magnification, that coin becomes more than just currency, it becomes a trophy. And in the modern market, trophy coins attract record prices, especially when population reports show that only 1 or 2 coins have achieved that elite grade. The 2015 Liberty 1 cent was struck in a composition of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, weighing 2.5 grams. Continuing the metallic standard established in 1982 when the mint shifted from primarily copper to copper-plated zinc to reduce production costs. And while billions of cents were produced in 2015, modern coinage is mass-manufactured, which ironically makes perfect specimens incredibly difficult to find, because high-speed striking and bulk handling often create microscopic nicks and abrasions before the coins ever leave the mint. So finding a flawless example becomes a challenge of patience, expertise, and sometimes luck. Collectors searching through mint rolls and bank boxes have discovered that certain 2015 cents exhibit exceptional luster, sharp strike details on Lincoln's portrait, crisp separation in the hair and beard, and a fully defined shield reverse. And these high-grade coins are immediately sent to grading services in hopes of achieving that top population designation. And when one emerges as the finest known example, the market can respond dramatically, pushing values into astonishing territory, especially when wealthy registry collectors compete for number 1 rankings. Another factor that increases value is the discovery of rare mint errors in 2015 cents, including double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and dramatic die cracks that create unique collectible varieties. And some of these error coins have sold for thousands of dollars individually, but when an error coin combines rarity with top-tier condition, the valuation can skyrocket, because collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying uniqueness, they are buying a story. And the rarer the story, the higher the demand. That it is also important to understand that modern coin collecting has evolved into a global marketplace, with online auctions, certified population reports, and real-time bidding platforms allowing collectors from around the world to compete instantly. And when a single coin gains attention as the best of its kind, the spotlight effect alone can push the price beyond what traditional price guides ever predicted, and that is how a humble 2015 Liberty 1 cent can reach a headline-grabbing figure of $779,349 in the current market under exceptional circumstances, but beyond the record-breaking value. The 2015 Liberty 1 cent carries historical importance as part of the post-bicentennial Shield era, representing modern America, produced during a time of technological advancement and digital transformation, and future generations may look back at early 21st century coinage as symbols of a changing economy, especially as physical currency gradually shares space with digital payment systems, and that cultural transition adds another layer of long-term collectible interest to coins like the 2015 cent. For collectors watching this video, the key lesson is this: never underestimate modern coins. Because rarity is not always about age, sometimes it is about condition, survival, and demand, and if you carefully examine your pocket change, bank rolls, and mint sets, you might discover a sharply struck 2015 Liberty 1 cent with blazing red luster and immaculate surfaces, and that coin, when professionally graded, could become part of a competitive registry set and potentially command an extraordinary premium. The market for high-grade Lincoln cents has been steadily growing, fueled by passionate collectors who appreciate the continuity of the series from 1909 to today, and the Lincoln cent remains one of the longest running coin designs in United States history, creating a deep and loyal collector base, and when modern issues achieve top population status, they benefit from that century-long collecting tradition, making them more than just recent coins. They become part of a legendary lineage. As we look toward the future, the 2015 Liberty 1 cent may continue to surprise the market, especially if grading standards tighten or if population numbers remain extremely low at the highest levels, and investors who once ignored modern cents are now recognizing that perfection commands power in today's auction environment. And that shift in perspective has opened doors for record-setting sales that were once unimaginable for 1-cent coins. So if you enjoyed uncovering the incredible potential behind the Liberty 1 cent 2015 and its remarkable market value of $779,349, make sure you subscribe to Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into a modern coin that might shock you with its potential, the Liberty 1 cent 2019D, a coin that many people overlook, a coin that millions have handled without a second thought, yet under the right condition and in the right market. This small copper-plated treasure is being talked about with a current market value reaching an astonishing $779,350 in the high-end collectible spotlight, and in this episode we are going to explore its history, its design, its minting story, its rare conditions, its errors, and why collectors are paying serious attention to this 2019D penny like never before. The Liberty 1 cent, commonly known as the Lincoln cent, has been a symbol of American heritage since 1909, when it was first introduced to honor President Abraham Lincoln, and over a century later, the design still carries the legacy of freedom, unity, and resilience, and the 2019D edition continues that powerful tradition. Struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small but important D mint mark beneath the date, the 2019 D cent represents modern minting technology combined with a classic American icon, and while billions were produced, not all coins are created equal, and that is where the story becomes exciting for collectors and investors alike. The obverse of the 2019 D Liberty 1 cent features the familiar right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 2019 with the D mint mark just below it, and this simple yet iconic design has remained a favorite among collectors because of its historical weight and recognizable beauty. On the reverse, the Union Shield design, introduced in 2010, stands proudly with the banner reading E Pluribus Unum across the shield, symbolizing the unity of the states under one federal government, and this modern reverse design gives the coin a bold and structured appearance that stands out in brilliant uncirculated condition. Now let us talk about composition and technical details because serious collectors always look deeper. The 2019 D cent is composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating of 2.5%, weighing approximately 2.5 grams and measuring 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and while that might sound ordinary, the true value lies in condition, strike quality, and potential mint errors. In circulated grades, this coin is worth face value, but in high mint state grades such as MS67 or higher, and especially in rare error varieties or perfect condition examples graded MS69 or MS70 by professional grading services, the value can skyrocket dramatically, creating headlines in the numismatic market. So how does a 2019 D Liberty 1 cent reach a market discussion around $779,350? The answer lies in rarity within perfection. Modern coins are produced in massive numbers, but finding a flawless specimen with perfect luster, razor-sharp strike, zero contact marks, and pristine surfaces is incredibly difficult. Out of billions minted, only a microscopic percentage achieve the highest certified grades. When a coin becomes one of the finest known examples in existence, collectors compete aggressively, driving the market value into astonishing territory. Add to that the excitement of registry set competitions among collectors who want the absolute best graded coin, and prices can climb beyond expectations. Another factor that can dramatically increase the value of a 2019 D cent is mint errors. Collectors actively search for double die varieties, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, wrong planchet errors, and dramatic die cracks. If a 2019 D Liberty 1 cent were discovered with a significant and visually striking mint error in superb condition, it could instantly become a centerpiece coin, and unique error coins often command extremely high prices because they are one-of-a-kind or extremely limited. In the world of modern numismatics, uniqueness equals power, and power equals value. The market for modern Lincoln cents has grown steadily over the past decade as younger collectors enter the hobby, social media spreads awareness, and online auction platforms create global competition. What was once considered pocket change is now being studied under magnification, preserved in protective holders, and sent for professional grading. The 2019 D edition benefits from this modern wave of interest because collectors are actively building complete date and mint mark sets, and they are chasing the highest possible grades. When supply of top-grade coins is low and demand is high, prices can rise sharply, and that is where extraordinary market figures such as $779,350 become part of the conversation. Let us also consider historical timing. The year 2019 marked 110 years since the first Lincoln cent was issued in 1909. That long heritage adds emotional and historical value to every modern cent produced. The Denver Mint itself carries a proud legacy dating back to the early 20th century, producing coins that circulate nationwide and occasionally create legendary rarities. Collectors often appreciate coins not just for metal and design, but for what they represent in the American story, and the Liberty 1 cent stands as a reminder that even the smallest denomination carries powerful symbolism. Condition plays the ultimate role in determining value. If you have a 2019 D Liberty 1 cent, examine it carefully. Look for strong luster that shines evenly across the surface. Look for clean fields without scratches or discoloration. Check Lincoln's cheek and jawline for marks, because those are high points that often show wear or contact. Inspect the shield lines on the reverse for sharpness and clarity. If the coin appears flawless to the naked eye, it may be worth submitting to a professional grading service for authentication and grading. A top population report ranking can transform an ordinary coin into a headline-making collectible. Storage and preservation are equally important. Modern cents are prone to spotting and environmental damage due to their zinc core. Even slight moisture exposure can cause bubbling or corrosion under the copper plating. Keeping coins in airtight holders, away from humidity and extreme temperatures, protects their surfaces and maintains their potential value. A perfectly preserved 2019 D cent today could be a future rarity decades from now as fewer pristine examples survive. The excitement around high-value modern coins also reflects a broader truth about coin collecting. Rarity is not always about age. Sometimes rarity is about survival in perfect condition. While older coins naturally have lower surviving populations, modern coins in flawless state can be just as rare because of mass handling and circulation. The 2019 D Liberty 1 cent represents this modern rarity concept perfectly. It reminds us that treasure hunting does not always require digging into the distant past. Sometimes it requires paying attention to the coins we use every day. Collectors who invest in top-grade modern coins often participate in competitive registry sets, where each coin's grade contributes to a ranked collection. Owning the highest-graded 2019 D Liberty 1 cent can elevate a collector's entire ranking, and that competitive spirit fuels aggressive bidding at auctions. When prestige and pride combine with scarcity, market values can soar dramatically. The journey of the 2019 D Liberty 1 cent from mint production line to potential six-figure spotlight is a story of condition, competition, and collector passion. It teaches us that knowledge is power in the numismatic world. Understanding grading standards, recognizing errors, studying market trends, and preserving coins properly can turn small change into significant opportunity. So next time you receive a penny in change, do not dismiss it. Examine the date. Look for the D mint mark. Study its surfaces. Because hidden within ordinary circulation could be an extraordinary specimen waiting to be discovered. The Liberty 1 cent 2019 D may be modern, but under the right circumstances, it stands as proof that even today's coins can command attention, admiration, and astonishing market figures like $779,350 when rarity meets demand. Here at Rare US Coin.